Right. So, hello guys. I hope you must be. Yeah, we are starting at 8:05, right? Okay. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the IICPC summer camp. And today we'll be inaugurating with the Novice section. So, welcome to the Inter IIT Competitive Programming Conclave. We are thrilled to have you here today as we unite competitive programmers. Our aim for this camp was to bring out the love for competitive programming for this summer, and we wanted to give out quality content, right? Today, we have over 40 institutions with IITs, NITs, BITS, and many other institutions, right? So, apart from that, if you think like we are giving out this camp for free, but there are resources that will be utilized, right? So we have two gold sponsors who made it possible for this camp to be free. So a huge thanks to them. Let me just roll out and tell you about our sponsors. Our first sponsor is AlgoZenith. They are our gold sponsors. AlgoZenith stands out as India's premier platform for internship and placement preparation. Their comprehensive preparation programs covers data structures and algorithms development, competitive programming, and extends to projects, resume building, and referrals, ensuring the best possible outcome for the students. Not only that, AlgoZenith has students that come from tier 3 background as well as non-coms electrical background that have cracked really great offers and interns like in Google. So thank you, AlgoZenith, for your invaluable support. Moving on to our next gold sponsor, the one and only 0x PPL. So you must be wondering what is 0x PPL, right? 0x PPL is a crypto slash Web3 company founded by Prasanna Sankar, who previously founded Rippling. If you know about Rippling, Rippling is a $10 billion plus company. Apart from that, Prasanna Sankar was also a very good competitive programmer during his time. He was India rank 1 on Top Coder, ACM ICPC, Google Code Jam, etc. when he was 18. 0x PPL has hired several ICPC world finalists and want to support the next generation. You can also see that they are doing this by sponsoring this camp. If you are excited about career opportunities in startup, 0x PPL will be a great launchpad. So you can reach out to Prasanna at the rate 0x PPL to connect. So these were our sponsors. AlgoZenith is also providing a platform for you guys for this camp. So you might be wondering, what is the Novice camp? Who is it for? Is it for me? Is it not for me? So I would like to call upon Ayush, who will tell you all about the camp. Let me just.
Okay, so am I audible? Okay. Goris, can you confirm? Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So how's the juice, everyone? I feel it's slightly less, just 448 right now. Increase the number, okay? Okay. So you know how we came up with IICPC? I with my colleagues, Aditya Mitra, Goris is here, and a lot of team members. You know, like there are more than 40 plus team members we have. Everyone worked so hard for this camp, and we have like we will be giving you all the benefits you can imagine for the competitive programming for next 2 months. Okay, so today we are inaugurating this Novice camp. It will be like one session in a week so that you can adapt better. You can watch out the recorded lectures. Since you are beginning the competitive programming, it's better for you to practice more, see the recorded lectures once or twice. Okay, and let me talk a little bit about IICPC. Okay, so IICPC stands for Inter IIT Competitive Programming Conclave. It doesn't mean that you need to be an IITians to be in the camp, or like you need. It is only for IITians or something. Okay, it's just the name. Take it out. Okay, fine. And then we aim for like reaching out to the max numbers in the country. Like we have to reach out to the maximum numbers, and like we have got 10K plus registrations, right? So We are like thrilled to have you participating in our camp. We will be providing you certificates as well. You have to maintain 75% attendance. And I have like, Aitya, you want to add something?
Yeah, so all of us, all 40, 45 of us have put in a lot of effort to put together all these people, to put together all these resources, and bring forward all this content in front of you. So we are expecting enthusiastic participation throughout the camp.
Yes.
If you take regular part in all of our sessions and contests, and if you keep solving our problems that we'll keep uploading, in the next 2 months, you can expect your level to increase by a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Also, we expect you to attend. I mean, not just attend for the certificates, right? You have to attend for what? For like becoming a greatest competitive programmer in the country. Right? That's our aim, and that should be the motive, not just certificates or something. So we should start with our lecture. I mean, he's Abhi Jain from IIT Bombay. Let me talk a little bit about him. We both were together in Ellen Samunath. You know, Ellen Samunath is like a Starbucks there hostel. And we studied together. He was the brightest kid there, okay, in Samunath. And then he bagged around 48th rank in J Advance and he's here right now. Okay, he's uh, okay, so he is right now. I mean, he is expert right now in Codeforces, and he will be taking the STL Basics. Unfortunately, we couldn't record the C++, but we will make sure to put out all the resources you require for the basics of C++. Okay. Otherwise, we can take a session. Maybe it's not big deal. We have like 1 week gap for the Novice sessions. So we can start the streaming, right? Avi.
Okay. Stream is not visible. Uh, my screen is not visible, I guess. Is it? Can Dhruval, you check? My screen is not visible, I guess.
Hello, your screen is
Let
visible.
me present it again, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, so now the screen is visible. Yeah. If my audio is clear, please everyone put +1 in the chat. You can see the screen and hear the audio. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So yeah, today we'll be starting with the STL library basics. So like कितनों को पता है STL library क्या होती है? मतलब give me a plus for it. No, कि STL library क्या होती है? And कोड फोर्सेस लाइक तुम में से who all you have like कभी ना कभी contest दिया है कोड फोर्सेस पे, if you have ever given like these, or how many of you have never given a contest on code forces? Good to know if you have never given a contest on code forces or have never seen a problem on code forces. Yeah, okay, if you have never seen code forces, let me first show it to you what code forces is. Okay, so this is the code forces platform. Okay, so code forces is down. Okay, so Codeforces is basically a platform where you can give contests regularly. So let's take Codeforces, where's Codeforces server down. Yeah. Okay, Codeforces is down. Let's continue about that. We'll talk about it later. So actually, whenever you are giving contests, you will see problems and you have to solve them using your own code. You can code in any language, but like let's talk about my first experience with the code forces. I was giving my first contest later on. So what happened with me was there was a very simple question. It required some sorting, and I had to create my own sort function. I sorted the array and got my answer. But when I looked at it, it took my 30 minutes or somewhat. And tell them my colleagues, they have solved like around 2 to 3 problems. So यार मैंने जब उनका कोड बाद में देखा, like you can see the code of others on code forces कि what your colleagues have submitted. So when I looked at their code, यार उन्होंने sort function use कर रखा था. So basically what is STL library is कि it contains some pre-built functions and libraries. So whenever you come to a code forces question, first thing is like you will be given some information. Now that information would be some variables, some numbers on which you will have to code. Now you will have to store that information, obviously, and to solve to you will have to store that information. So STL library contains a lot of containers, like you know about arrays. So it contains a lot of containers like vectors, sets, and all. If you have heard about them, so you can use them to store things. It contains some pre-built algorithms like sorting and all, so you don't have to code it hard down every time. Like तुम्हारे पास पहले से ही function है sort का and you just have to write a single line in your work will be done. So that's all what STL library has. It has algorithms, pre-built algorithms, some of the very common algorithms. We'll look about them in the coming slides. So that's what, if you code your own sort function, then that's a waste of time in the contest because you know sorting, they don't want to check if you know to sort. So you just have to code your solution using the implementations, algorithms, and containers that are already present in the library. Well, basically, the library is a tool that you will be using. So that's about STL library. Now, one more important thing, like give me how many of you here code in other languages like Java or Python, because STL library is a C++ language actually, C++ library. So which languages you use, just comment it on the chat. Yeah. Majority of the people here use C++. That's actually the stats too. 80% people use C++ for their competitive programming. It's fine if you use Java or Python. Basically, the STL library is a tool for C++, but there will be concepts that you will be learning in the session that are common for all the things. And in the upcoming sessions, more focus will be on the concepts and the algorithms. In this session, we will be covering the STL library basics for C++, like vector class sets, sorting, and binary search functions. We won't be discussing the algorithm. Okay. So yeah, one more important thing that this lecture contains a lot of things to memorize. Like there are a lot of functions and lot of syntaxes that uh, you have to memorize. So if you keep your pens and notebooks and write down the things that you found new, like there are things जो पता होंगी पहले से, अगर कुछ नया लगता है write it down, और otherwise slides तो मिल ही जाएंगी last में. Okay. So what are the prerequisites? So you should know C++ basic concepts majorly, कि data type हो, if else statement, for while loop, functions, arrays. मतलब that's enough if you know that. About pointers, I will be discussing. If you don't know pointers, comment in the chat how many of you don't know pointers, and if you know pointers, just basic. I don't want key pointer to a function, pointer to something. Just basics about pointers, what pointers are, and dereferencing and referencing of pointers. Comment in the chat if you know pointers. Okay, some of you know pointers, some of you don't. Okay, when we will be coming with the pointers, I will be giving you the brief about pointers, ki what all pointers are. Majorly, I won't go in the depth of pointers. There is a lot you can learn in pointers, but I will be going that's required for the STL library and all. So okay. About time complexity also, if you have idea about time complexity is very good. If you don't, I will be covering time complexity after this, but a pre-recorded lecture of time complexity where we will be discussing the details of time complexity, BIGO notation, theta notation, and all that. That will be coming very soon. And if you want to know the C++ basic, if you need a basic lecture on C++, comment the video after the lecture ends, and we will provide it if possible. And there are resources for C++ basics if you that our sponsor AlgoZenith provides us. So that's like you can. I will give the link in the description after the session ends, and you can go to the link and learn C++ programming if you need to. And about time complexity too, if you want to learn, there is the resources of time complexity also are there on the channel of AlgoZenith, the website. So visit it, it's our sponsor, and you will find a lot of things to learn here. Okay, let's see if the Codeforces works now. Issues with Codeforces. That's working. Okay, let's leave it for now. We'll come to that. It's the session. Okay, so talking about time complexity basic idea. So what time complexity exactly is? So let's say you are given a question, you have to print n values, like 5 values you have to print in a question in a CP problem. So it requires 5 steps. You will be printing 5 steps in any language. So that 5 steps is a number of steps you have to run. So if I say you have to run n steps, then the time complexity is basically number of steps that your program has to run. So for example, let's add a slide and okay. So how many of you know about for loop? So for n I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. I am doing something like I am printing C out I. Okay. So what do you think? How many steps this for loop would be taking? So the first step, I guess, would be the value of I will be initialized. It will be 1 step. In each iteration, it will be printing C out I. And since the for loop runs for n times, this line will be printed n times. This I less than n will be compared on every step. So in each step, this line will be running n times. This I plus plus will be running on each iteration n times. So I can say 3n plus 1 times the code will run. Like how many of you are clear with this thing? 3n plus 1 time run karega code. Like 3n plus 1 steps होगी basically. 3n plus 1 steps only. Now, if I say that this code runs for 3n plus 1 steps, can I say कि each step will take some unit time? It's not necessary that all steps will take some unit time, but something proportional to n. So the time taken, we will be ignoring the one because we don't take we take the majority significant term in the time complexity because we need for larger n's. So for larger n's, the insignificant terms will go on. So I could say time complexity is proportional to n in this case. Yeah. So since time complexity is proportional to n in this case, what I write is that time complexity for this segment of code is O of n. So that's my notation for O of n. So whenever I write a time complexity for algorithm, or in the upcoming slides, I say that the time complexity of this function is something O of n or something. So it means that it is proportional to n. So let's say if a function takes n square plus n plus 1 steps, what will be its time complexity? Comment in the chat. What will be its time complexity? So yeah, you just take the significant term, that's the n square. So we say the time complexity of this function would be O(n) square. So that's the idea of n square n. Now there are more notations of time complexity. There are a lot of details about time complexity. How does it work? So O notation, theta notation, and all. So that will be covered in the time complexity pre-recorded lecture that we'll be uploading soon. But for now, this amount ki O and big O notation, that's called big O notation. So we will be using this for this lecture. Apart from that, let's take one more loop and one more example of a time complexity. So let's say I have written a loop for int I equal to 0, I less than n, sorry, I equal to 1 in this case, I equal to 1, I less than n, and I into 2. Okay, and now I'm printing cout I. So what will be the time complexity of this code? Comment in the chat. No attendance is yet to be done. Attendance will be done in a while. Okay. So yeah, the correct answer is log n. Actually. So all those who are getting log n. So okay, let's see how this code runs. Okay, we will just try to imitate what this code does. For let's say this code prints 1 first. Let's add a space here too so that it's printing a space too. So what will this code do? On first step, it will print 1. After the second iteration, it will print 2. After the third iteration, it will print 4. After the fourth iteration, it will print 8, so on. So I could say on the first iteration, it printed this, second iteration, it printed this, third iteration, it printed this. So let's say on kth iteration, what it will print? 2 to the power k minus 1. Can I say that? Is it clear till now? Is it clear till now? Yeah. Okay. So it is clear till now? Yeah. So can I say the loop will stop whenever this term will be greater than equal to n? 2 to the power k minus 1. As soon as this term becomes greater than equal to n, can I say that the loop will end? Okay, this is k system. Okay. So can I say k's value is greater than equal to 1 plus log 2 base n? And in my code, the number of steps that I had was proportional to k. So in my code, there were k steps. Can I say that? So since my number of steps were proportional to k, and as soon as my k becomes greater than log 2n, it stops. So can I say that there were log 2n steps? So okay, that's how the time complexity comes out to be log 2 base n. So in general, in competitive, in CS, where don't write the base of log, it's understood to be 2. So the time complexity of my code will be we go to the log n. So that's what my time complexity for this code will be. Is it clear till now how the time complexity was log n? Is everyone with me? Okay, what if I plus is equal to 2? So someone asked me. So if I plus is equal to 2, let's take that case 2. Okay. So comment in the chat what will be the answer if I plus is equal to 2. What will be the answer? Yeah, it will be and only, because when I plus is equal to 2, the code will run like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. In the first step, it will be 0. In the second step, it will be 2. In the third step, it will be 4. In the fourth step, it will be 6. In the fifth step, it will be k, 8. So I can say in the kth step, it will be 2 to the power k minus 1. So 2 to the power k minus 1 is less than n. So I can say k is, whenever it is greater than equal to n, the code will stop. The code stops at n by 2 plus 1. So I would say time complexity is O n by 2. No, but actually we just take the proportionality with n. We just take the proportionality ki what value it is proportional to, because that half is not significant because the above steps, that I less than n, I is equal to 0, the increment factor, all that comes into play, and not each step runs at the same time. Like there are a lot of portions of the code, so this portion, they all will run n by 2 into 3 it will become, but and not even all the steps run at the same time. So just to get an idea ki how much it will run, we will just check the proportionality. So we don't write it like this. We prefer to write it like this only, O to the n. We don't write it like this for general. So that's how O n only. So that doubt is clear. Yeah. So now that's the big O complexity chart key time complexity. So time complexity is O1, On. So as soon as the values increase, the graph is increasing. We prefer that good time complexity things are there. So that's the graph. So on a big O notation, these are some of the common time complexities that you have. O1, O1 means that's a constant time. Something happens in constant time. O log n, we looked at that. Linear time, we looked at that. Linear arithmetic time, we will see it soon. In the merge sort, we will be learning merge sort this session too. So that will become. So these are some of the time complexities that we have. Now talking about O1. So this is the one of the chart that's very useful while solving Codeforces problems. The what is the input size and how much time it will take for 1 second in the following time complexities. Okay. So this chart is quite useful. Okay. So everything is clear now. Okay, this chart you can see later in the slides. It's okay. Now we'll come to STL library. What STL library is? Now the time complexity basics are over. Now let's come back to the main topic of our session. What's the main topic? Main topic was STL library. So how to include the STL library? Actually, STL library includes a lot of libraries like vector, algorithm, strings, and many more. But to write each include, it's better to just write this step hashtag include bit standard c++.h. It's quite very popular. If you write this, all those popular libraries, it's a header file containing all those libraries. So if you write that hashtag include bit slash std c++.h, it will be that libraries will be included. So using namespace std, So that's the namespace for this library, and you can include it this way. Okay. So now come to sorting. Now, what is sorting? Is there anyone who doesn't know what is sorting? Yeah. So wait a minute. Okay. So let's come back to sorting. Okay. So there are a lot of algorithms to sort. How will you sort an array? Let's say there's an array of numbers. How will you sort that? So there are a lot of algorithms. So there are O n square algorithms. O n square algorithms means the time complexity of these algorithms is O n square, average time complexity. Now we won't be discussing these algorithms. Yeah, otherwise it would take a lot of time. So here are the resources. You can check out these algorithms later on. We don't use these algorithms nowadays, but if you know them, it's very good. So we'll come back to merge sort. That's a favorite algorithm. Its time complexity is O n log n. It's average time complexity. Okay. So how does merge sort works? Like there's a lot of steps written in your language. I won't be reading that. Okay. So let's try to understand this portion. So the merge sort works on basically three things. It will first divide, then it will recursively sort, and it will merge. What it will be doing? It will be doing three steps. It will be first dividing, recursively sorting, and then merging. So how does that? Okay. So let's take it to the example, how it works. So first it will be doing, let's take the example of this array. I am having this array. It will be sorting this array. So this array has a length 8. Okay, this array has length 8. Since its length is not 1, it will be dividing till its length becomes 1. So it will divide it. Its length is इसमें 0 से लेकर 7 तक indexes है. 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So क्या होगा? It will be divided into 2. That's how merge sort algorithm works. So how it works? It's divided into 2. So we have got 0 to 3 indexes here, 4 to 7 indexes here. Is the first step clear? Now again the length of the array is 4. It's recursively sorting. First it divided, now it's recursively sorting. Now we have two shorter arrays. Now we are recursively sorting this two arrays. How many of you know a recursion, by the way? Like recursion term pata hai? Is there someone who doesn't know what recursion means? Yeah, Sohail, your question was ki bits header file has lot of STL functions which make this file slow. Actually, it makes the compilation time slow, but you don't. The compilation time doesn't count in the C++ Codeforces platform. The executable file just runs when everything is compiled, so it doesn't affect much. It's better to use that file. Otherwise, you can use the libraries that are specific to the things like for sorting. There's algorithm and all. Okay. Yeah. So recursion, the recursion just means when a function calls itself. Like how many of you know Fibonacci? So who doesn't know recursion? Just giving a brief example is Fibonacci is a very good example of recursion. For example, you are calling an. So an calls by an minus 1 and an minus 2. So for a bigger n, it calls some smaller n. So that's all what recursion is. So Fibonacci is an example of very good example of recursion. I hope every one of you know what Fibonacci is. So okay, let's get back to the merge sort. So again, we have divided the array. Now we are recursively sorting these two short arrays. So okay, when I have divided this two arrays, now again I will be dividing it. So the 0 to 1 index, 2 to 3 index, 4 to 5 index, 6 to 7 index, and so on. So I have again divided these two arrays, all the arrays. All the arrays will be recursively divided. So this is how the array looks after. So all the arrays now are of size 1. Can I say size 1 arrays are sorted? Obviously, size 1 arrays are sorted. Size 1 arrays are always sorted. So since the arrays are sorted, all the arrays are of size 1. Now I will be doing what I will be doing. I will be merging these two arrays. I will be merging these two. I will be merging these two. While merging, I will make sure that the smaller element comes first and the bigger element comes later on. Okay, is that clear? So that's how merging occurs. Now finally I have got like these two merged arrays, again these two merged like this, these two merged. So that's how things, and finally after all the merging I have got these array. So now let's see how does the merging occurs. So let's take a new slide and कि merging किस तरह होती है. तो इसी का एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं. Let's say मेरे को ये दो arrays merge करनी थी. Divide करना तो सबको आ गया था ना. Dividing is just making the array into half and copying the elements into two new arrays, two half arrays. So I have two arrays, 2, 4, 5, 7 and 1, 2, 3, 6. So while merging, I will make a new array of size 8. Okay, so I have made the new array. Now what I will be doing is, I will be having two pointers. First pointer at the first element of this and the second pointer at the first element of the second array. Now how will I be merging? Okay, so my first step would be the comparing the elements that are at the two positions. I'll be showing these two indexes of the first two arrays. So that's one arrow and the second arrow. That's how merging will occur. Now what I'll be doing is I will be comparing which of these elements is smaller. Okay, which of these elements is smaller? I know one is smaller, so I will take one. And what I will do, I will shift this pointer one step ahead. मैंने इसको आगे बढ़ा दिया एक कदम. Okay. So now again मैं compare करूंगा. Now again while comparing the two elements are equal, I can take any one. Let's say मैंने इस वाले two को ले लिया. So I took this two element. Now मैंने again अब इस pointer को मैं क्या करूंगा? एक step आगे बढ़ा दूंगा. Okay. Now again I will compare. Now these two is smaller. मैंने इस वाले two को ले लूंगा मैं. So now अब इस pointer को आगे बढ़ा दिया. Now again comparing. So 3 is smaller, so 3. And again I will be increasing this pointer. So on. Again for 4 is smaller. I will be increasing the pointer. Again 5, then 6, then 7. And finally the pointer comes at last. When it crosses the array, I will delete the pointer when it, like for example, if it was at 6, then I will, and the next time I will delete the pointer. There is no pointer, I will take the last element. Okay, so that's how merging works. Is that clear? Is that clear how we merge, how the algo for merge works? Is everyone clear how merging works? Okay, can anyone if I am merging two arrays of size n by 2, what will be the time complexity of merging? Can anyone answer in that in the chat कि अगर मैं किसी भी दो अरेज n by 2 साइज को मर्ज करके एक n साइज की अरे बना रहा हूं, so what will be the time complexity of that? Yeah, those who are writing it n, very good, very good. Yeah, so the time complexity would be n. If how, let's say, so every time I am moving the pointer, what I am doing is three things I am doing. Okay, I am moving the pointer. Sorry, first I am comparing. I am doing three steps. First is comparing. Second is uh, making the element of bigger array. Making the element of bigger array. Okay, matlab just giving the name. Okay, the third thing I would be doing is moving the pointer. Moving the pointer. What will be I doing next? I will be moving this again. So technically, this whole thing runs recursively. Now, can I say moving the pointer, making the elements of the bigger array runs for exactly n times? The elements of the array will be put n times, so I can say this loop will run n times. N times, and each step running, there are three steps majorly, so 3n steps. So I can say the algorithm has time complexity of O(n). This merging process. Merging has time complexity of O(n). Okay, is that clear to everyone? That merging is O(n) time complexity. Not the merge sort is O(n), just the merge portion. Whenever I would merge two arrays, apart from sorting. Pratyaks, what if there are 6 elements in array in the starting? How to merge the 6 elements in the starting? So again, we will be dividing it. So it will be divided 6. 6 will be divided into what? Pratyak's doubt. So there were 6 elements in the initial array. Then it will be giving 2 arrays of 3 size. Again, it will be given 2 arrays of 2 size and 1 size. And this will be giving 2 arrays of 1 and 1. So I will be having always, if it's not a factor of 2, again I will be having 6 elements. I will stop after this. So okay, that's how. And again, this will be merging like this two, and so on. We can merge. Okay. Now, what's the time complexity of merge sort? Can I say merging occurs on every step? First merge occurs on this. So dividing occurs on this. Here it is divide. Again divide. Dividing will also take O(n) time complexity. Is that clear? Okay. I'm dividing it 3 times and merging it 3 times. Can I say dividing also takes n steps? How n steps? I will be putting these 4 elements, 2 in the first 2 position, next 2 in the new 2 array. So I will be assigning the values to the next 2 elements and so on. So it will be taking n steps because there are n elements in the each step. Each step में elements तो नहीं है. Okay, is that clear? Why O(n) not O(n) square? Yeah, I have covered that. Look it again if you have doubt. I think everyone is clear with that. No, two. Yeah, you are saying because two loops will be used O(n) square. It's never. We will be doing it in a single loop. There will be just 2 pointers. That's why we will be doing it in a single loop. And if there were 2 loops, also there were 2 loops necessarily don't have n square thing. If the n square is inside n square, there were 2 loops, one nested inside other, then it's n square sometimes. Okay, is that clear? Machine learning. Okay, so what's the number of times I have done divide? How many times I have done divide? I have done divide 3 times. I have done divide merging 3 times. Can I say this 3 is log 2 base 8? Okay, technically I am dividing 8 into by 2 each time. I am dividing 8 by 2 each time. So if there was 16, again it will take 4 steps because 16, 8, 8, and so on. So I am dividing it 3 times because 8 divided by 2 and divided by 2 till it gets 1. 8 divided by 2 divided by 2 till it gets 1. So that is log 2 base 8. So how many steps? So I had how many steps? 3 steps, log 2 base 8. So twice of log 2 base 8 into each time n steps matlab 8 only. So if there was n, what would it be? The apart from at 8, if it was n, can I say it would be 2 log 2 base n into n? Can I say it to be 2 log 2 base n? Sorry, 2 log n base 2 into n, matlab n log n. So can I say time complexity to be O n log n? Look at that very clearly. Can I say that time complexity to be O n log n? Is everyone clear कि O n log n कैसा आया? O n log n कैसा आया? कैसा आया? How n steps? Each thing being done in n steps. Merging n steps में हुई मैंने अभी we have covered it. Let's cover it again back. So I had two arrays of n by 2 and n by 2. What I was doing, I was having 2 pointers. I was doing first comparing, assigning the element of bigger array and moving the pointer. I was doing 3 steps n times, though there were 3 n steps. And so each merging was like O n. And just taking proportionality, ignore the constants if you are bothered about that. Okay. So merging takes O(n). Dividing also takes O(n). Like yeah, if 6 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, I will 8 elements. Okay. So I will have a for loop for I equal to 0 से कहाँ तक 4 तक 3 तक less than 4 तक I less than 4 तक I will have a loop. Okay, and I will assign the values of first array, and for the second array I will have a loop जिसमें मैं assign करूंगा values n by 2 इसका n by 2. So technically dividing, जब मैं divide कर रहा हूँ, when I am dividing भी क्या है O(n) है. So technically मैं O(n) वाली steps कितनी बार कर रहा हूँ? Twice of log 2 base n O(n) time. So मेरे पास 2 log 2 base n steps है. I could write it better like n into log n base 2 steps है. Is everyone clear with कि how n log n steps है? So मेरे पास कितनी steps है? n log n steps है. Yeah, we divide till we get single element arrays. So divide जब तक बनना है, किसी भी नंबर को डिवाइड करना है, जब तक बनना है, that's when log. So अब log तो आना चाहिए यार, I guess. So n log n steps है. Since there are n log n steps, तो मैं क्या बोलूंगा? merge sort की एल्गोरिथम जो है वो n log n बार चलती है. क्या है उसकी टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी O n log n है. ये समझ आया ना सबको? STL कराओ प्लीज यार. STL जस्ट आने वाला है. सॉर्ट एक्चुअली इज इम्पोर्टेंट एंड मर्ज सॉर्ट के सिमिलर तुम बहुत सारी एल्गोस पढ़ोगे एंड उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें एल्गोस तुम बना सकते हो n log n टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी की विद अ सिमिलर अप्रोच. ओके, सो दैट वाज व्हाट इट इज रिटन हियर. जब तक इंडेक्सेस क्या है? 0 a से लेकर b तक इंडेक्सेस होंगे. दैट वाज रिटन हियर a, b इक्वल टू 0, 3. तो टेक्निकली इंडेक्सेस जब a और b इक्वल हो जाए तब कुछ नहीं करेंगे. जब a और b हम रिकर्स करेंगे इस फंक्शन को, जब तक a और b इक्वल होंगे तब कुछ नहीं करेंगे. a और b इक्वल हो गए मतलब साइज ऑफ द अरे हैज बिकम 1. जैसे साइज ऑफ अरे 1 होगी हम कुछ नहीं करेंगे. अगर 1 नहीं है तो हम क्या करेंगे? मिडिल एलिमेंट निकालेंगे, एक अरे बनाएंगे, सब अरे a से लेकर k तक और k+1 से लेकर b तक. अब इन दोनों पर रिकर्शन लगा देंगे. रिकर्शन मतलब वापस इन दोनों पे फंक्शन कॉल कर देंगे और अब इन दो सबअरेज को मर्ज कर देंगे. सो व्हाट आई डिड वाज डिवाइडेड फर्स्ट, देन आई रिकर्सिवली सॉर्टेड and then I merged. Is that clear? So that's what it is written here. You can read it later on if you have doubts. Okay, if you want the full code of merge sort, you can see Geek's website. Otherwise, I have written the code. Okay, I will be giving it in the description too. Okay. So this is a merge sort algorithm. So let's look at the code to if for once. Okay. So how does merge sort begins? So for merge sort, I am taking an array. There are two elements, begin and end, similar to A and B. What I am doing is, as soon as begin is greater than equal to end, मतलब जब दोनों की वैल्यूज इक्वल हो जाएंगी, बड़ी तो होगी नहीं बिगिन की कभी वैल्यू, एज सुन एज दे बिकम एंड मैं रिटर्न कर दूंगा आई डोंट वांट टू सॉर्ट अगेन. अदरवाइज क्या करूंगा, मैं मिड एलिमेंट निकालूंगा. मिड एलिमेंट निकालना तो यार ये तो आ ही जाएगा सबको. एंड देन आई विल सॉर्ट मर्ज सॉर्ट, कहां से कहां, अरे को बिगिन से मिड और अगली बार मिड प्लस वन से एंड. एंड देन आई विल मर्ज. मर्ज द मर्ज फंक्शन जो है यहाँ पे यार, इट इजंट इन द एसटीएल लाइब्रेरी. ये लिखा हुआ है, मैंने इसका कोड इधर स्लाइड्स में नहीं दे रखा है, इसको बनाने की कोशिश करना है एक बार. दिस इज ओवन लॉगिन एल्गोरिथम. यार एक होमवर्क है यार, ट्राई करना. एक तो सबसे पहले बिना देखे मर्ज सॉर्ट का कोड खुद लिखने का ट्राई करना, अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कॉन्सेप्ट. जो तुमने कॉन्सेप्ट समझे हैं उसके बेसिस पे मर्ज सॉर्ट का कोड लिखने का ट्राई करना. कोई भी अरे मैं तुम्हें पास करूं एंड वो तुम्हें सॉर्ट करके दे दे. एंड अनदर होमवर्क फॉर द क्यूरियस पीपल, जो मैथमेटिकल पीपल है, कि यार प्रूव करो कि कोई भी सॉर्टिंग एल्गोरिथम जो कंपैरिजन पे बेस्ड है, नॉन कंपैरिजन पे बेस्ड हो सकती है, जो भी कंपैरिजन पे बेस्ड एल्गोरिथम से सॉर्टिंग की, उसकी टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी n log n से फास्ट नहीं हो सकती. ओके, यू विल ट्राई इट इन द लेटर ऑन. ओके, अटेंडेंस का बोल रहे हैं यार, बस अभी अपन जस्ट एसटीएल लाइब्रेरी पे पहुंचेंगे डाटा स्ट्रक्चर्स पे. एज सून एज वी रीच देयर वी विल बी डूइंग दैट. ओके, सो होमवर्क क्लियर है. होमवर्क ट्राई करना जो कर सके. मर्ज सॉर्ट का एल्गोरिथम लिखने का सब ट्राई करना. मैथ्स वाला होमवर्क हो गई, इट्स ऑप्शन. नाउ हियर इज द इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट. ओके, व्हाट इफ सॉर्टिंग इज जस्ट अ स्मॉल पार्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन. यार तुम हर बार मर्ज सॉर्ट का फंक्शन तो लिखोगे नहीं. अब जो एसटीएल लाइब्रेरी की बात कर रहे थे, अब एसटीएल लाइब्रेरी पर आ चुके हैं यार अपन. इट्स एसटीएल लाइब्रेरी ओनली. अब अपन सिर्फ एसटीएल लाइब्रेरी के फंक्शंस देखेंगे एंड कोड देखेंगे. सो इफ द, मैंने जैसे स्टार्टिंग में बोला था कि यार मेरे को एक स्मॉल पार्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन है जब जस्ट सॉर्ट करना है. यार मैं आई वोंट बी डूइंग द राइटिंग द होल मर्ज सॉर्ट फंक्शन अगेन एंड अगेन. So the STL library provides me that. STL library gives me the sort function, the pre-built sort function that STL library has. And मैंने खुद ने लिखा नहीं तो एरर का चांस नहीं है. लाइब्रेरी में pre-built function है, अच्छे प्रोग्रामर्स ने लिखा है, बहुत ऑप्टिमाइज्ड कोड है. इवन मैं तो सॉर्ट का एल्गोरिथम लिखूंगा अरेज के लिए, जो आगे के डाटा स्ट्रक्चर्स में पढ़ूंगा, नेस्टेड डाटा स्ट्रक्चर्स में पढ़ूंगा, उन सब में भी सॉर्ट फंक्शन में काम कर जाता है. मैंने सॉर्ट फंक्शन का कोड एक बार लिख भी दिया, मान लो ग्रेटर देन के लिए ना, मुझे मान लो कोड चेंज करना है कि मुझे डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में करना है, मुझे कुछ और क्राइटेरिया पे सॉर्ट करना है. सो सॉर्ट फंक्शन में वो सब कुछ है. सो C++ library contains the sort function and everything is efficient. Okay, so if you sort, if you have your use the sort function, like that's the thing. But if the interviewer asks you to sort the array, write a program to sort the array, then don't do that. Okay, there's another sort, Italian sort. If you have time, read that. It's O and time complexity. It's a very first algorithm. Just read that once you are done. Okay, that's just for fun. Okay, so here comes the, so now how to apply the sort function, right? Okay, so if there is an array of size 7, of size n, now I want to sort that array. Okay, so the sort function is written like this in the code: sort of a comma a plus 1. It sorts the a on its place. A plus n is the size of array. For vectors too, that we will be coming taking it later on. For them there is a just similar syntax. I will be covering that when I will be covering vectors. And for other things also, there are like sort function works for a lot of things. Okay, so the sort का syntax है वो यही है: sort first iterator, last iterator, comparison function. Comparison function is optional if you want to sort it in ascending order. Actually, sort function sorts it in ascending order, but it's not necessary that you want to sort every time in ascending order. So there is a possibility you want to sort with some other criteria. So the STL library provides you the facility कि तुम एक अपना comparison function pass कर सकते हो. Okay, so how can you use your own function to so वो अब इसका example ये code में अपन देख सकते हैं. So for example, you have to sort the strings on the criteria. So the first criteria is okay, this color is not visible that one. So let's say first criteria is string size बड़ी है तो बड़ा होना चाहिए, string size greater, and second criteria है मान लो you want to sort normally, okay, lexicographic order, lexicographic, okay. So if that's your criteria, how will you sort the array? So let's take the array. I have few names written here of my friends. So okay, here's the array. Now if I want to sort it, I will just use sort array plus 6 and provide the function, that comparison function. Okay. Here is the comparison function. Bool compare string A string B. I have written the code here. So what my code says, agar size equal nahi hai. If the sizes are not equal, then return me A dot size less than B dot size. Otherwise return me A less than B. So that's my criteria. अगर size बड़ी है तो क्या आएगा? Criteria bigger आएगा. So that's what output is. अभिषेक की size सबसे बड़ी है. It's 8. It's 6. It's 5, 5, 5, 4. So the 8 वाला element is at the highest, 6, then 5, then 5, 4. The 5 elements are in lexicographic order A, H, P. Okay. The by default sorting order of sort function is ascending order, and yeah, I have returned here is A less than B. So otherwise, if I have applied sort normally, I would have not done this thing comparison function. Then it would have printed normally what the lexicographic order is. Abhishek would have came first, then Abhi. Okay. यहाँ तक clear है सबको sort function कैसे काम करता है? Yeah, for vector we will be covering it later on. यार vector आ रहा है अभी, vector पे अपन vector पढ़ाया नहीं है, लोगों को आता नहीं, so syntax अपन vector भी आगे आने वाला है STL library में, तो अपन उसको देखेंगे definitely. Yeah, वो go sort is that's good. Yeah, attendance. So okay, I would ask Dhruval to put the attendance and the chat and give the QR. Okay, I will be pinning the attendance link in the chat. Yes, IICPC people, please pin the link in the chat, attendance link. We'll try drink water. Yeah. Oh, so we are taking a 2 minutes break. जब तक यार सब जने attendance mark कर दो. बाकी किसी को कोई डाउट हो तो पूछ लो चैट में भी तब तक. Attendance form not opening. Yeah, ICC people, yeah, I think you have forgot to turn the Google form on. Dhruv will see that. Form काम नहीं करा. Okay, wait. We are doing. We are working on that. We are working on that. यार जो attendance वाले हैं वो निकल जाओ. निकल जाएंगे. No problem. Okay, wait. QR is working. If QR is working, somebody put the link in the chat. Link working है यार, अब link work कर रही है. Somebody is writing link is working. I think Google Form में वो accepting responses on करना भूल गए. Okay, now everyone has marked the attendance, so अब अपन आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now we move to binary search. Okay, first यार इस पर sort का एक बार कोड अपन देख लेते हैं. तो यार ध्रुवल पहले स्क्रीन शेयर कर दो वापस एक बार. That's fine. Okay, screen visible है ना सबको? So here's the code. Okay, so now let's take the code of sort function. Okay, so here was the code that I wrote. Okay, so let's run it and see what's the output. So that's it, the output that we expected. Abhi, Ayush, Harsh, Parveen, Aditya, Abhishek. That's it. Now comes binary search. Okay. Okay, now what binary search is? Okay, I won't be taking the binary search algorithm for now because it would take time, and we have already planned a session for binary search because there are more concepts and more ways of solving problems through binary search. So the algorithm and the recursive method and all that comes under binary search, we'll be taking that later on. Till then हम binary search जो है उसको उसमें functions exist करते हैं STL library में. The okay, so जो STL library में functions exist करते हैं हम उनको डिस्कस करेंगे. लोअर बाउंड, अपर बाउंड, इक्वल रेंज. ओके यार, अटेंडेंस वाले लोग चले गए. ओके, सो वी हैव द पीपल हु आर हियर टू स्टडी. सो नाउ बाइनरी सर्च के जो फंक्शंस होते हैं, सो देयर आर थ्री फंक्शंस: लोअर बाउंड, अपर बाउंड, इक्वल बाउंड. और यहाँ पे पॉइंटर वाली बात आ रही है, सिंस सम लोगों को पॉइंटर नहीं पता था. सो मैं पॉइंटर की क्लियर कर देता हूँ हल्का सा. आई वुड जस्ट कवर अ बेसिक की व्हाट पॉइंटर इज. इधर ही कवर कर देते हैं अपन. ये पॉइंटर क्या होता है? सो बेसिकली जो भी तुम्हारा वेरिएबल होता है, जो भी तुम्हारा वेरिएबल होता है, लेट्स से कोई वेक्टर है, मतलब वेक्टर तो भी नहीं पता है. ओके, कोई भी एक वेरिएबल है, लेट्स से एक्स. एक्स एक्स किसी लोकेशन पे स्टोर्ड होगा मेमोरी में. मेमोरी में किसी लोकेशन पे स्टोर्ड होगा. उस लोकेशन का जो नंबर होता है वो हेक्साडेसिमल में होता है. अगर मेरे को उसका कोड चाहिए तो मैं प्रिंट एंड एक्स कर सकता हूँ, एंड दैट विल गिव मी द लोकेशन ऑफ दैट. इट विल बी कमिंग इन सम 0x समथिंग फॉर्मेट. ओके, अब मेमोरी में स्टोर्ड होगा इंडेक्स किसी एक पोजीशन पे. नाउ व्हाट पॉइंटर इज? पॉइंटर इज द लोकेशन टू पॉइंटर स्टोर्स दैट मेमोरी. पॉइंटर कैन स्टोर दैट मेमोरी. सो लेट्स से मैंने int x करके एक वेरिएबल बना रखा है. आई वांट टू गेट द लोकेशन ऑफ दैट मेमोरी. मुझे क्या चाहिए? उस मेमोरी की लोकेशन चाहिए. सो आई वुड क्रिएट अ वेरिएबल कॉल्ड int स्टार. int स्टार x इक्वल टू int ऑफ sorry स्टार y, a new variable, and I can store that information in that वेरिएबल y, जहां पे मैं x की मेमोरी की जो लोकेशन है उसको स्टोर कर सकता हूँ. इज दैट क्लियर? इज दैट क्लियर टू एवरीवन? Yeah, the time complexity material of AlgoZenith is also uploaded in the chat. We will also add that in the description. Yeah. So what is that कि हमने क्या किया? उस पॉइंटर को एक वेरिएबल बनाया. y is just a पॉइंटर जो मेमोरी स्टोर करता है. ओके, जो भी वेरिएबल होगा उसके नाम से अपन बनाएंगे int स्टार. मतलब int स्टार, अगर डाटा टाइप int है तो अपन int x करके बनाएंगे, int स्टार y. सो दैट्स बेसिकली जो भी डाटा टाइप होगा उससे अपन एक पॉइंटर बना सकते हैं जो एक मेमोरी को पॉइंट करेगा. अब मुझे जानना है कि उस मेमोरी पे क्या है. अगर मेरे को मेमोरी की वैल्यू प्रिंट करानी है तो मैं क्या कर दूंगा? मेमोरी की वैल्यू प्रिंट करानी है, वो हेक्साडेसिमल कोड प्रिंट कराना है तो मैं y प्रिंट कर दूंगा. तो मान लो मेरे को उस मेमोरी पे वैल्यू क्या है. y ने किसी मेमोरी को, मतलब x जो है, x x जो है वो किसी एक मेमोरी पे स्टोर्ड है. उस मेमोरी का कुछ नोटेशन है. ये मेमोरी की जो वैल्यू है ये y पे स्टोर्ड है. y एक पॉइंटर है, पॉइंट कर रहा है बेसिकली मेमोरी मेमोरी पे. तो जब मैं y को डी रेफरेंस कर दूंगा, व्हाट इज डी रेफरेंसिंग? व्हेन आई प्रिंट cout स्टार y, दैट स्टार इज डी रेफरेंसिंग वेक्टर और डी रेफरेंसिंग. ओके, सो what does cout star y will do? It will print the value of x. उस मेमोरी पे क्या है उसको प्रिंट कर दो. सो व्हाट बेसिकली पॉइंटर इज, वो उस मेमोरी की लोकेशन देगा, और उस मेमोरी पे क्या अगर मेरे को प्रिंट करना हो तो आई वुड डू सी आउट स्टार वाई। अब इसका एक बार मैं कोड अगर आपको रन करके दिखा देता हूँ आप, ओके, एंड x इक्वल टू 5 एंड स्टार y इक्वल टू मेमोरी ऑफ x, एंड मैं प्रिंट कर रहा हूँ अब स्टार y को, और एक बार मैं y पे प्रिंट कर देता हूँ y में क्या स्टोर हो रहा है, ओके। कैन एवरीवन सी दैट? If it's written URL at the URL in the form, otherwise at the code ID. So okay, so you can see the output here, and the output is the value of x. What we printed first was dereferenced by. What we printed was dereferenced by. So it printed 5, and y printing y printed the memory. Memory is printed in hexadecimal code. This is a hexadecimal. We have binary decimal, and that's the intro about pointers. Otherwise, to get the detail about कि क्या होता है, I would suggest कि तुम बाद में we will provide the resources. AlgoZenith resources are there, so you can see and look at the pointers and all things. That will be useful. For now, it's enough, I guess. So binary search में जब मैं lower bound function, upper bound function और equal range जो functions है, these three functions, what these three functions do is, these three functions provide the pointer to the element. जब मैं बाइनरी सर्च लगाऊंगा, बाइनरी सर्च क्या, सर्चिंग एल्गोरिथम है, द नेम सजेस्ट। मेरे को कोई एलिमेंट अरे में ढूंढना है, मेरे पास अरे है 1 से 15 16 15 16 एलिमेंट्स है, एंड आई नीड टू सर्च एन एलिमेंट, आई विल अप्लाई बाइनरी सर्च। इट्स द फास्टेस्ट मेथड, इट्स टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी इज ओल, बट देयर इज अ कैच, द अरे शुड बी सॉर्टेड। इफ देयर इज अ सॉर्टेड अरे, it will work only then. The array should be sorted. That is the first criteria the binary search needs. So there are functions like lower bound and upper bound and equal range. इनकी डेफिनेशन में थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन होता है कि क्या होते हैं लोअर बाउंड फंक्शन, अपर बाउंड फंक्शन, क्योंकि इधर थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजन होता है। फर्स्ट अरे एलिमेंट हुज वैल्यू इज एटलीस्ट x, और जो अपर बाउंड है वो रिटर्न करता है फर्स्ट अरे एलिमेंट हुज वैल्यू इज लार्जर देन x। तो ये ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू x का फर्स्ट एलिमेंट, और ये ग्रेटर देन x का अगर मैं सर्च कर रहा हूँ। नाउ सिंटेक्स किस तरह वर्क करता है, लेट्स लुक एट, मैं एक अरे बना देता हूँ एंड हम उस पर कुछ एग्जांपल्स देख लेंगे। सो जो कंफ्यूजन होता है बहुत बार वो क्लियर हो जाएगा। सो अरे इज 1 2 3 3, let's take another 3 4 5 7 11 13, एंड इनके इंडेक्सेस भी लिख देता हूँ मैं। इसका इंडेक्स 0, इसका इंडेक्स 1, इसका इंडेक्स 2, इसका इंडेक्स 3 4 5 6 7 8 9। ठीक है, मैं लोअर बाउंड फंक्शन लगा रहा हूँ। मैं क्या करूंगा, सी आउट डी रेफरेंस्ड लोअर बाउंड, इसको मैं अरे बोल देता हूँ, ये अरे है, अरे लोअर बाउंड फंक्शन लगाया अरे से अरे प्लस 10 तक, और मैं अब कुछ ढूंढूंगा x, मैं ढूंढने वाला हूँ x। सिमिलरली अपर बाउंड फंक्शन, अपर बाउंड फंक्शन अरे प्लस 10 x, ओके। अब लेट से x की वैल्यूज क्या होंगी, उसके बेसिस पे अपन देखते हैं कि क्या आंसर आएगा। x इक्वल टू 3 पे क्या आएगा, x इक्वल टू 6 पे क्या आएगा। फर्स्ट x इक्वल टू 3 पे दोनों की क्या वैल्यू आएगी, गिव मी कि x इक्वल टू 3 पे क्या क्या वैल्यूज आएंगी। हियर इज द डेफिनेशन, हियर इज द डेफिनेशन, यू कैन सी इट। अरे भी में x की मतलब जो आउटपुट आएगा वो क्या आएगा, could you please speak in English? Okay, I will try to speak the maximum stuff in English. That's fine. So, okay, what will the lower bound function will return? The check the definition. It says greater than equal to x. It says greater than x upper bound. So, what the two values will the two values of functions return? Okay, what extension do you use in C++ code? It's CPI judge actually. You can we have shared the resources of competitive programming. Now it has the video how to set up your VS Code for competitive programming. Okay, for x equal to 3, what will be the output of the two things, lower bound and and upper bound? Everyone write in the chat. Am I not able to see the chat? Okay, so someone has said 3 comma 4. So index 2 and index 6, that's correct. So we will get values, we will get these two values, 3 comma 2, and this will be for lower bound. Lower bound because greater than equal to, it will see the first value that is less than equal to, sorry, greater than equal to 3. So that value is 3. It will stop here, it will return the pointer to it. We have dereferenced that pointer. Star notation means we have dereferenced that pointer. So this is a lower bound and this upper bound function will return this. Okay, so at x equal to 3, it will return element at index 2, which is 3 or element at index 5, that is 4. Okay, now erase these two things. Okay, now. So okay, अब 6 के लिए क्या रिटर्न हो गया, जल्दी से चैट में बता दो यार. Please comment it down the chat key what we will be using. What will be the answer? So again, x equal to 6 has some catch. 7,7. Yeah, 7,7 is absolutely correct. So what does the lower bound function do is it goes and sees what is the element which is just greater than. So when it goes and it sees that the just greater than element is 7. Now with the name, it's things like people think a lower bound function. So it would be showing 5. The value at index 6 we got it because it is lower bound. But the thing is not that it shows the value. What the value it shows? It shows the value 7 for both the types because greater than equal to x and greater than x. In both the cases, the value of array that we will be getting is 7, and the index is also 7. So answer is going to be 7 for x equal to 6 case. That's the confusion people have while using lower bound and upper bound function. You can use lower bound and upper bound for sets too. We will cover that later, and for vectors too. Now comes the part most of you were waiting for, I guess. Some of you for. We will be discussing vectors and some of the data structures that are important. So coming back to vectors, what are vectors? Yeah, vectors क्या होते हैं? Definition of a vector first thing. Yeah, you will say it's something with magnitude or direction. CS, there are 3 vectors. Okay, if you have someone from mass vector spaces, first year engineering, yeah. So that's cool. 7 follow. Yeah. Array and vector. So vector is basically an array with some more extra features. What does extra features the vector have? So vector is a dynamic array. What is a dynamic array? When you define an array, when we define an array, the size of array is being written in the code. We have defined the array of size n in a code somewhere. Now, when we want to access the or make the size of the array bigger, like we have to add some more elements. We have an array of 5 elements, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3. I want to add 4. I can't do it in an array. Why can't I do it in an array? Because memory for an array is already allocated. जो अरे के लिए मैंने 4 साइज की अरे बनाई है स्टार्टिंग में, तो वो 4 साइज की मेमोरी एलोकेट हो गई अरे के लिए. अब मैं बाद में कोड में चेंज नहीं कर सकता उसको, जब मैंने डिफाइन किया तभी चेंज हो सकता है. बट यार मेरे को तो कोड में थोड़ी सी इंडिपेंडेंस चाहिए, मेरे को थोड़ा फ्रीडम चाहिए. आई नीड सम फ्रीडम. So what will I do? I will change the size of the array. I can change the size of the array, and that's what the power vectors come with. It's a dynamic array. Now, how to create a vector? Okay, so you can create a vector for any data type. Here's the type. Okay, you can choose any type. Vector, you can. This is how you declare a vector. Like you declare an array. You declare an array as int array. Okay, int array of size 5. So you declare an array of int array size 10, let's say, int array of size 10. So that's how you can similarly declare a vector. Very similar syntax, nothing much special about this. So vector v of 10 creates an empty vector with all the values initialized to 0. Vector v of 10 comma 5. Vector v of 10 comma 5 initializes a vector with all the values initialized to 5. Can you do that in an array? You can do. You will have to use a for loop. You will use a for loop, do a array I equal to 0 to I equal to 10, I less than 10, and make all the make all the values 5. That's you can do. So that's some advantage. Okay. What functions do the vector come with? So vector come with like v dot size v5. Okay, what is v dot size? Using this function, I can get the size of vector. If I want to access the fifth element with index 5, access element with index 5, I can use v5. Similar to an array. If you use array, it's very similar. Okay. I can change the value of v5, v3, v2. Okay. So that's how you access elements. There's another function to access element v dot add 5, but I don't know anyone using this function. Okay, it's fine to use v5 as we do in traditional arrays. Okay, what if I want to increase the size of array? Okay, anything you feel writing, like you can note down. We will be sharing the slides otherwise. What if I want to increase the size of array? Like let's say I had created an array of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. What if I want to increase its size? Its size would be increased using the pushback function. If this is the array v and I want to increase its size, I can do v dot pushback 5, and my array will become 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what it is. Now I want to delete that 5. I mistakenly added it. So v dot pop back. What does pop back do? It will make the array again of size 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop back deletes the last element. The time complexities of these functions are written over and over. That's what is being done. Now what does v dot back do? V dot back do is it gives me the last element. V dot back gives me the last element. Using v dot back, I can access the last element. And what does v dot clear do? It deletes the array. The syntax is very similar. Like push back, I need to push. Pop back, I need to get it out. Okay. So let's see the code. Okay. So for code for vector basics, yeah, here it is. So here we have the code for vector basics. Running the code. So that's the code. So I created a vector v. I pushed 3. I pushed 2. It became 3, 2. I pushed 5 again. It became 3, 2, 5. Now I printed the values. I can use iterators v0, v1, v2. I made 0, 1, 2. I printed 3, 2, 5. That's here. Now I made the 0th element of vector 7. So what I printed? I printed 7, 2, and 5. Is that clear? Okay, if you try to declare a vector as that, oh, for the first time, if you have any doubt key while doing coding, will that work out? Will that work out? If you have doubt for any code, try that and print that. This is the first thing. Otherwise, the values will be truncated. If you store integers, if you type integer values to an element and print that, it's always rounded off. So that's not an issue. Again, there is how we have iterated through the vector. We have done I equal to 0, I less than v dot size. I can access the size of the array at any time using this function, and this is how I have printed the vector vi, cout vi and all. There is a very shorter way to iterate through a vector. Key, how does this code works? How many of you know auto function, auto keyword? Sorry, auto keyword. How many of you know auto keyword? Let me Enter in the chat how many of you know auto keyword. +1 +1, yes. Okay, so auto keyword is just nothing. It's a new thing that came into C++ after C. That in the new C++ version, I guess it is. The auto keyword automatically assigns the values, assigns the data type. I don't need to write the data type, what the data type of X would be. Or if I would declare anything, those who have dealt with pointers know ki there are a lot of pointer to a pointer to pointer. So those things have a very weird declaration. So auto type resolves that error. You define automatically auto type defines the declares that value using the required data type. Okay, is that clear? So a shorter way to iterate through a vector is you go with auto x such that column v. So that way x will be iterating, and on each step x will be becoming the next element of v. So that's a very shorter code. It works for sets as well. It works for maps as well, and the upcoming data types too. So that's how we have dealt it with. So again, I created a vector. I pushed 5. I pushed 5. Then I pushed 2. Then what was the last element even dot back gave me? It gave me 2. It gave me when I popped back. So like you can read the code later on when I will providing it when I will be providing it in the description. Okay. So this line creates a vector that we have all seen in the slides. Okay, that's fine. Now let's move to something advanced. Now what are iterators in vectors? Okay. Now we are moving to some advanced things that most of you might not be knowing. Okay, so this is the advanced stuff. So what is iterator? So first thing is iterator is a variable that points to element in data structure. Okay, definition thing. So basically it's a pointer to the values in the vector. If there's a set as a data type, then it is a pointer to all the values in the data type. Okay. So there are two common pointers. Like for vector, we have v dot begin pointing to the first element, v dot end pointing to the last element. No, it doesn't point to the last element actually. It points to the memory after the last element. So where do v dot begin? So these two are pointers. It stores the memory of first element, and it stores the memory of last element +1. First element ही store करेगा, and it will store the memory of last element +1. Now there are reverse iterators too. What are reverse iterators? That's something key v dot r begin. R begin will point to here, and r end. R end will point to the value before that. V dot r end begins. Sorry, r end. R stands for reverse. Now, what these iterators are useful? Why are these iterators useful? So let's say there are functions which use this iterator actually, which use pointers. We have seen the sort function. So sort function uses these iterators. I can sort the array in ascending order very simply using the sort function. Sort v dot begin, v dot end, and it sorts at an ascending order in O and log n time. What if I want to sort it in descending order? I can actually do it very easily using sort v dot r begin, comma v dot r end. ये क्या करेगा? Descending order. We'll sort it in a descending order. So what does reverse of v dot begin, v dot end? It's obvious, yeah, it reverses the array. You can do another thing if you want to sort in descending order, sort normally and then reverse the array. Then there's a random shuffle. You want to randomly shuffle. It's not useful for. It's generally not useful for CP as such, but I just wrote it. It's a part of it. Okay. Okay, you can sort, reverse, and randomly shuffle ordinary arrays as well in the similar way as we have seen in the sort function, a comma a plus n. You could also sort the vectors with the callback function sort v dot begin, v dot end, and have your own callback function. Okay. Now, what if you want to get the maximum element? You can get the maximum element easily. You will create a for loop, define the max, and get the max element. You would have to write 4 lines of code. Is it worth it? If I say there is a max element function already existing, isn't that better? So that's what it is. A max element function do exist in vectors, and it also returns the pointer to the maximum element. It works on O time complexity. That's what your for loop is also there. So the at the backend max element uses the for loop only, but why to write that loop? That's my question. So it returns a pointer cout star max element, and that's how max element would be printed. That's how minimum element would be printed. So that's the syntax of min element and max element. Now, what if I wanted to erase something at a position? Again, I can use a loop. I can again use a loop. I will insert that index and it will be deleted. For example, if this is the array, I put v dot erase v dot begin plus 2. So what index it is pointing to? It's pointing to this 6. So this is getting erased in the next step. So जब मैं इसको v को print करूंगा, the v will become this. Now I want to erase some range. I want to erase it from now v dot begin plus 2 to v dot begin plus 5. It's an open range always. Okay, take care about that. So 2 से plus 5 तक में कौन सी range आएगी? This will be the range 1 to 5. Index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is not inclusive. This is exclusive always. So that's how 0 to 5 it will be printing, and that's how vector v will become. So we can use a for loop for these functions always in an array, and in the vector too we can use a for loop. But if there's a function that exists for the work, then writing a code makes your code bigger, and it will be time consuming always. Similarly, insert function is there. You can insert at a particular position. You will give the pointer and the value will be inserted. And there are actually many more functions for vectors. Like I have covered it here in the vector advanced. Actually, there are lots of functions, and I have given examples for each of them. Like I have covered as many functions as I could. Like for sorting the vector, this was normal sort. We covered already. What to sort in descending order. There is another way. You provide the callback function greater int. That's the part of standard library. Another is random shuffle again, and so we have covered the erase function, insert function. Insert function has one more type. If you want to insert multiple elements, okay. If you want to insert multiple elements, if you want to insert another array inside an array, there is a function. Not all are useful in the first day. You won't be able to learn them all, but as time continues, if you want to see them, you can see here. If you want to resize, that's how this function is quite useful. This way, it prints all the unique elements of the vector. If you want an array, but for this, the array should be sorted. Look at that once the session is over. I will be providing the code in the description. See that code, and you will be able to see there is a function to rotate the vector swapping and clear, obviously. So these are some of the advanced functions of vector. I am not teaching each and every function because all are not even useful in daily context. You just need the basic functions, pushback, pullback, sometimes erase, but you don't need all the functions. But if you know it, it's better always. You won't have to write a for loop, extra for loop. That will save your time. We declared v0 equal to 7. How it got printed? Okay, I will be providing the code. Check it. I printed, got it printed again. I got it printed again. So check the code. Okay. So now there's a bonus homework. Okay. If you all want to attend this bonus homework, okay, that's a good thing. If you want to clear your concepts of dynamic memory allocation, OOPS programming, and C++, try to create this vector library on your own. Create the vector header file, vector.cpp file, and create as many functions as you can. And I have given some resources. It won't be much helpful for CP overall, but it would be helpful in OOPS programming, object-oriented programming. If you want to do it in C++ and need a good project, you can try create the vector library or even the string library that we will be discussing. Okay, now pair. For example, you want to get coordinates x comma y. So you can get them as a pair, input as a pair. Now, how to get input as a pair? It becomes like you can define a pair. Like for example, I want to define a pair in T. Now I can take a input as C input P dot first, P dot second. That's how I can store elements as a pair. Okay, you can define its P and comma P string. You can define declare or get the values here also. You can make a pair like this and assign the pair P equal to make pair of something like 1 comma 2 for this one. This was in data type. So that was for pair. Similarly, we have tuple. You can access the elements of tuple using get I of tuple t. Okay, there's a typo here. It should be small g. Okay, so that's how you can define a pair or tuple. What is it? Tuple you can store more than up to n types. Any number of types you can store. I guess it's 10 for some of the compilers, but yeah, up to 10 you can store anything for some compilers, I guess. Yeah. So that's how you define a pair. That's how you define a tuple. So defining a pair is P1 equal to make pair 1 comma 12 and P1 dot first the input. You could get output as P1 dot second, P2 dot second. So that was for tuple and pair. It's quite simple. You can read it, and there's nothing much to explain in this. Now comes things like vector of pairs and tuples. That's something interesting. What if somebody provided me 10 coordinates? I could store them as x comma y in a pair. I could have vector of pair where I will be storing pairs. So what can I do? Like let's see the code itself. It would be better to understand through that. Pair. So you can define a pair like this. We have seen this code. Some extra functions that tuple comes with. I am not discussing them. If you want to read for curiosity, you can read them. Okay. Now vector of pairs. I can define a vector of pairs. Like you can define vector of any data type. That is an array basically. So array of that data type. Now you push back elements 3 comma 9, 3 comma 4, 5 comma 6, 6 comma 2. So that's you have got a vector. Now for elements x in the vector, I am printing x dot first and x dot second. Let's see what it gets printed. Okay. So this was vector of pairs that I declared 3 comma 9, 3 comma 4, 5 comma 6, 6 comma 2. This was the vector, the pairs I stored in my vector. So that's how you can use the pair like vector of pairs if you want to store two elements. Then after sorting in pair, it's not necessary that both data types should be same. That's an advantage. Okay. So yeah, after sorting, you see that the sorting works in the way that it sorts according to the first element first and the second element second. So 3 comma 9 and 3 comma 4 got sorted first according to 3. So 3 came first, and then 3 4 3 9 5 6 and 6 2 and so on. Similarly for tuples, you can see we can create a tuple of vector of tuples and get the tuple sorted in the order. And after sorting, similarly you can create vector of vectors. That's like nested vectors. So this is how you can see the code of vector of vectors. I have pushed vector of vectors. In vector of vectors you can have like unequal sizes of vectors. Like we have pushed in the vector of vectors like 2 or 3 vectors, and I can sort that. So like that's clear up to now. Is it clear up to now? Is it clear up to now? Can you show received output for pair? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, vector of pairs after sorting. I can't zoom it more, I guess. Yeah, it would be like too much. It's visible, I guess. Okay. Yeah, it acts as second array, but the disadvantage with array is that you can have a single data type array. If I want to create a pair of string and int, I can create, but I can't create an array of vector in it. You can create an list in a vector string different in Python, but in C++, the data type of all the elements of an array is same. No, it sorts the first element, then according to the second element. You know? Okay. And that's how you can initialize a vector of vectors. So you have a vector of vectors of size 4. You can define matrices, I mean, with vector of vectors. So with vector of vectors, this is the data type. Inside a vector, we have a vector. Okay. I have created a vector of vector of v3 initialized with 4 elements. And all the values are initialized to a vector of 4 elements and 1. So the syntax of vector is like very obvious key. If you want to initiate a vector, number of elements and the initial value. And since all initial elements are vector, so the initialized value will be also vector. That's what it is. And here I am printing the vector of vectors using two for loops, I equal to 0 to 4 and j equal to 0 to 4. It's just basically matrices, nothing else. Okay, here is the output of vector of vectors initialized. Okay. Okay. Now we come to strings. So how does strings work? Strings are also similar to a dynamic array, a vector. Now how does strings work is you can add strings. That's the one more advantage with the strings that you have. You can add strings. So if you have two strings, let's say S1 and S2, you can add them and print them. You can have like indexes 0, 1, 2 and access the strings characters using the similar way as we are doing in an array. You can print the whole string. Like the functions of strings are very similar to what you find in vector, but there are some extra functions that the strings offer, like s.substring. For example, you want to find a substring. Let's say I've got the example below. So if you have a substring string hello world, okay, I want to get the substring 0 to 5. So it says go to 0th index and get me a string of length 5. So what will it get? Hello. 0th index per hatch and it's the length of 5. So that's how string is being stored. Now how does find works? Find just works in a way that give it a substring, it will search in the string where that element is. What will it do? Go to the string, it searches in the string, the substring, and gives you the first occurrence. It gives you the first occurrence of substring. Index of first occurrence of substring. Sets. Now, okay, strings, let's see the code for strings once. Strings.cpp. So here in the strings code, I have given all the code that you require. Okay, so the code that I was in the slides, along with there are a lot of functions that the strings offer. I am not covering all that in the slide. All of them are not useful, but if you know them and if they get to you in some minutes, it's fine. So yeah. You can use the find function, replace function, the syntaxes, and I have explained the time complexity and all the iteration, string to integer, integer to string, sorting and string. It's works similar way. Reverse function and random shuffle function. All those functions that vectors offer similar functions do offered by string, and string does have some extra functions. Okay, random shuffle, max element, min element also works here. Comparing functions, replacing some portion of string with some variable, converting to uppercase to lowercase. All those will be provided in the coded description. I would suggest कि एक बार हो जाए session, उसके बाद जब तुम खुद practice करो, you go and read these and try to understand them. There's nothing much hard about that, but to cover all of them in the lecture is not possible, and it's not useful as well. Okay, most of them are not as used in CP, but you should know that some of them exist. क्योंकि most of them are just a for loop, and तुम उनको code कर सकते हो as a for loop, but to save time, if you know the function, it will always save time. जो important functions थे find and substring, वो मैंने cover कर दिए हैं. Okay, sets. Now, what is a set? यार maths में, if you have passed 11th year, so you know sets. Yeah, is string mutable in CPP? String is mutable. Do we have to immediately remember these functions? No, you don't have to remember this function. I'm saying not all are useful. Even I don't know half of the functions. I just know that they exist. If I need to see the code, I see the code and try use it in the CP, and most of them are just for loop. I said. Okay. About sets, sets you have heard in maths. The sets definition here is also exactly the same. It stores unique elements. It's based on balanced binary tree. Now what it is part of some advanced things, but all the operations of set do work in O log n time. Basically there are two sets. There is a one set normal set, and there is another set unordered set. Now what's the difference is the normal set has all things sorted, while with the unordered set it isn't sorted. ये sorted नहीं होता है. It's not sorted. That's the basic difference. बाकी जो set maths में होता है, all those similar things are there. Unique elements होंगे. And ये दो implementation होता है. जो दूसरा set है वो hashing के through implement होता है. All those are advanced topics. कैसे implement होते हैं, कैसे create होते हैं, वो हम नहीं अभी discuss करेंगे. But how are they implemented in the code, वो भी अपन देख लेते हैं. So for example, there is a set. I could insert the elements in it. S.insert checks what all elements are. I could insert elements. I could insert 1. I could insert 2. I could insert 3. This 3 won't be inserted because already as set as has 3. So set just contains one element. To check if an element exists in a set, you could do s.count for. What does s.count do? S.count will search for that element in the set. It's that simple. And s.erase will erase that element. You won't remember this functions in the first case, but do write them in somewhere. They will be useful. Don't try to remember all the functions, just the basic functions. Try to remember them. Okay, here are functions that are there. I have given them in the code. You want to see? Now with the unordered set, okay, s.count gives the count, so it will give 0 if a element doesn't exist, and if that exists, it will give count as 1. And yeah, all the operations in set will take in general O log n time. Okay, for the unordered set, you can define the unordered set as like this: unordered set int us. That's the name given by me. Unordered set will store the things in not sorted order. The things in set are sorted in, stored in sorted order. Now, what does unordered set comes with? So unordered set operations in general, on average, take O1 time. So that's the advantage of ordered set, unordered set, if you don't want the things to be sorted. Okay. Exactly similar functions that set has, it does have insert function, count function, and erase function. It's exactly the same. Similarly, we have multi-set. What is multi-set? It stores multiple elements. It can store duplicate elements. That's important. It can store duplicate elements. So if you have inserted 3 twice, if you have inserted 5 twice, it will have 2 3s and 2 5s. The code is in the code will be provided to you. Okay, you can check the count function. Count function works exactly the same, but in this case, if you count take count of 3, it will return 2 because 3 is twice in the array. Similarly, unordered multiset also occurs. And this multiset is also implemented using binary search tree and hashing. We won't go into that because that's some advanced topics, hashing, binary search tree, balanced binary search tree. So I won't be going into that. But unordered multiset we access करता है उसका भी syntax exactly same. Now erase function is something that's somewhat changed in this multiset. So let's say we have the multiset. इधर क्या था अपने पास multiset में 2 4 things were sorted 2 3 3 4 5 5. So जब मैंने erase किया, what it did was when I used ms.erase3, the problem that occurred was it erased all the threes, all the occurrences of 3. It will erase both the threes and the multiset will become 2 4 5 5. But what if I want to delete just a single instance? In that case, it's very easy. If you want to delete just a single instance of 5, you would use ms.find5. What it will give you? It will give you a pointer. It will give you a pointer to first element, that is 5. It again works in log n, time complexity, and erase. Erase will delete just that pointer. So you will have the pointer will point to this value. Since it's pointing to this value, only this value will be deleted, and you will get a multi set of size 3 with just one 5 erased. So number of 5 you want to get erased or number of 3 you want to get erased, the erase function just has some differences with the normal set. Otherwise, everything that's working here is same. The name is very clear. Key multi-set, it contains duplicate elements. That's it is. And multi-set is again sorted, and unordered multi-set is again not sorted. Like it's very simple actually. Is it clear up to now? Yeah, multi-sets are obviously sorted. Inbuilt sorting is there. Yes, let's share. Yeah, Kunal, even though we insert it in any order, it will arrange it in ascending order. You don't have to take it. Yeah, is everyone clear till now? Give me a +1 if you are clear till now. Yeah, okay. So what is the use of unordered multiset? Again, the operations of unordered multiset occur in O1 time complexity. And for multiset, it takes O log n. So the time is taken more. So that's the advantage people get with unordered multiset because it's based on hashing and all. So you don't have to think about that. But these are some of the advantages. Isn't it vector basically? It's vector, but there's a catch. If you insert an element in vector, the time complexity of inserting in vector is O n. While in multiset, unordered multiset, the time complexity of insertion is O1. So that's the difference. The time complexity is basically creating the difference. If you are thinking it's similar to vector, in vector, inserting an element in between. I was talking about inserting an element in between. The unordered multiset would give the time complexity to be O1. Finding occurs in the similar way. If you want to find an element in vector, you will have to create a for loop and search for the element in the vector. It will take n steps and it would be O n time complexity. While the unordered multiset would be O1 time complexity. That's the thing. Similarly, iterators and sets. This is the syntax for iterator. If you want to define an iterator, we were talking about in vector too. If you want to get a variable with iterator syntax for vector, for example, you can do vector int. Okay, this is not visible here. Vector int iterator it1 it equal to v dot begin. You can do it in similar way. You can do it in similar way. You can put it here at top. Okay. So in similar way, you can define iterator for vector 2, and similar way we define iterator for set 2. And here's the code. Okay, so you can use iterator to print the elements of set. The disadvantage of set is that the elements are not indexed. Since the elements are not indexed, you can't access the elements using the S0 operator, S1 operator. They are policy based ordered sets too, but we won't be discussing them now. Okay, so access the set elements using this way. You can't access the elements of set using S0, S1. So if you want to access an element of set, let's say, so how will you access that? To access that element, to create a iterator IT, then move that iterator in the set, and then dereference that iterator to access that. Okay, so IT equal to S1 dot begin auto keyword you can use if you don't want to use that long thing set int iterator IT. So you can set the element to be S1 dot begin, and this is how the for loop will run. Now iterators and sets. Okay, so is this slide repeated? Okay, I guess the slide is repeated. Okay. Okay, so these are few functions that return iterators. We are soon to close the session. There is not much left, so just be patient enough. Okay. So s dot find, s dot lower bound, s dot upper bound. So a lower bound and upper bound works exactly the similar way as they do in vectors or things, but these are some of the member functions of the set class. So s dot lower bound x will search for the lowest element, s dot upper bound will search for the smallest element larger than x. This is how lower bound and upper bound functions work, similar to that. And find x works is it finds the exact x. It finds the exact x, gives the first iterator. If it does not find, it gives. It does not find, it gives s dot end. S dot end. S dot end and the similar begin and end syntaxes are also similar to vectors. Okay. Yeah. So the examples of all the three and the code for set is also will be given in the description. That's the last data structure for today. Maps. So what are maps? How many of you are familiar with dictionary in Python? How many of you are familiar with dictionary in Python? Multi-set prone to hacks. Okay, you know about dictionary in Python, no? That's good. So the maps are exactly similar to how dictionary in Python works. You have a key element and you have a uh, element according to that key. Okay. So the map syntax is similar, but the difference is that in dictionary the key and element would be anything. Is the data type is fixed in map that the first key would be of same data type and the next should be of same data type. Again, maps are sorted. Maps are also sorted always according to the array. If you are using the structure map, there is an unordered map too. So and here the difference is also similar. The all the operations in map will take O log n time complexity, and in the unordered map it will be taking O1 time complexity. So the syntax for map and unordered map are almost similar, but that's the advantage O log n and O1. So that's the difference. Map is sorted and unordered map is not sorted. It's clear with the name. Okay, maps. So again, maps are just similar to dictionary in Python. Similar, not exactly the same. Okay, maps can be initialized using this method. Map type1 type2. So that's what type1 is type of key. Key किस type की होगी and elements किस type के होंगे. So you can like I have names. I have created a map of string comma int. So I have given map of Ayush to be 21. My names of some people accordingly. Okay. So that's how we define elements. And now the map will always be sorted. Like if I print the map, I will get all the elements in the sorted order. Like using the keyword auto xm, I am printing the map x dot first, x dot second. It will print the key. It will print the value. You will see the code later on. Okay. Now another function is m dot count. M dot count. What does m dot count do? It gives me the count ki if Ankit exists or not. M dot count यहाँ मैं भी key दूंगा. It will check if key exists or not. If key exists or not, it will give 0 if key does not exist. Otherwise, it will give 1. अगर key exist करेगी तो. And what if I try to access an key जो कि map में है ही नहीं? For example, Ankit was not here in the map. If I try to create an variable m ankit, if I ask the map ki mujhe m ankit do, so it will create an ankit key in the map, and it will assign the value 0. M of ankit to the 0 will be assigned. It will be assigned. Okay, so let's check the code for map. So here's the code for map. So यहाँ पे मैं run करके देख लेता हूँ, बता देता हूँ आपको. Okay. So again, erase function is there. You can erase the key using this. There's unordered map with quite similar syntaxes. Okay, so here is it printing the map. When I printed the map, first thing is all the keys are sorted. See, when I printed the map, all the things in the array are sorted. Abhi, Aditya, Ankit, Ayush, Harsh, Punya. That's the advantage of map. That everything is in the map is sorted and according to the keys. First thing, and second, I created only 5 values, but when I tried to print the value M Ankit, which didn't exist in the map, it automatically created a key named Ankit and gave it a value 0. And even it printed the default value of 0. And how I know that Ankit is not there? When I printed m.count Ankit, it gave me 0. So I know that the key does not exist in the map. That's all for map also. So maps are also a very important data structure that you can use in the contest. There are some more advanced data structures that are there, like deque. So deque is similar to vector, but you can insert and push from both front and rear. But these are some other advanced data structures, not useful for initial time of contests and all. You don't need to learn them and memorize them for now. Like push, it contains like apart from push back and pop back, it also contains push front and pop front. But it has some disadvantages to compare to vector. But this is some of the advantage. From stack, what is a stack? Stack has it's obvious what a stack is. Like a book stack, you can push from top and pop from top. That's only what you can do. So the syntax is very similar, very obvious. You can push from top, get the top element, and pop the top element. That's only what you can do in a stack S. Similarly, the queue. What is a queue? You can push from any side and pop from the front side. You can access the front side only and pop from the front side only. Similarly, so the syntax is very obvious. Q dot push, Q dot front. You can access the front element and pop the front element. That's all what you can do. Okay. So इनकी टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ओवर होती है दोनों फंक्शंस की. So I won't be going into queue. अब ये जो प्रायोरिटी queue है, I have given the code, bit set है, and the policy based data structures I am giving the code, but this is some of the advanced things you want to be useful in your daily CPP, at least for now. So in suppose एक बार session over होने के बाद, if you want to read, try them out. Now once the session is over, just check out all the functions. The code जो description में दिया जाएगा, first उसको check कर लेना. And you can try a lot of introductory problems. We will be sharing the problems with you soon. And जो CSCS problem set पे sorting and introductory problems है, you can try them. Okay. So that's all for session now. And एक बार कोड चेकआउट कर लेना जो बोनस होमवर्क एंड होमवर्क दिए थे. इफ यू वांट टू ट्राई आउट देम डू ट्राई आउट द मर्ज सॉर्ट का एल्गो एक बार जरूर ट्राई करना. इफ यू वांट टू लर्न अबाउट बाइनरी सर्च एल्गो यू कैन लर्न ऑन योर ओन. एंड ये जो 3 एक्स्ट्रा डाटा स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं जो एडवांस है, आई एम नॉट कवरिंग देम नाउ, बट या यू कैन यूज दिस रिसोर्स टू लर्न अबाउट देम. इनके कोड भी मैंने दे रखे हैं, एंड आई विल बी गिविंग द फोल्डर विद ऑल द कोड्स. Apart from this, okay, we were to see the Codeforces platform एक बार तो वो अपन देख लेते हैं कि how a problem, yeah, it's working now. So I can see, you can see a problem, let's say. So how does a problem in the Codeforces look like if you have never seen a problem? So a turtle and piggy are playing a game. So the constraints are given like time limit. In the question, the time limit is given, memory limit is given. The variables, it will be asking you to take input as some variables, test case t, the size of t, what it could be up to, the variables l comma r, what could l and r be. So the values and variables are given, and you can submit your code from here. You can see status and all. So that's some example input, some example output, the inputs and outputs explained. If you have not seen the Codeforces handle. This is AlgoZenith handle. Yeah, if you have want to learn the C++, you can check out the AlgoZenith, our sponsors website, and do learn from here. And it does contain basic C++ things and time complexity thing. So you can learn it from here. For example, if there's a simple C++ code you need to write. Okay, so you have to print $hello name. Okay, so you can try this out. Okay, and like you can learn C++ from here. If you are new to C++, you don't know C++, uh, do check out the video on time complexity. I would suggest that, and pointers to. So if you have any doubts, like जो भी doubt हो, give me that. If any doubts are there, ask regarding the camp and all. Will there be session on bit masking? Yes, there is a bit manipulation session. Is CP helper good? Yeah, matlab it is. PDF कहाँ मिलेगा? It will be shared on Discord as well as we will upload it on Drive and give the link in the description too. If someone. Anything else? How was the session? Feedback and all. I think we can end the stream now. Can I continue this course in Java? Yes, you can. From the next session, the things will be more on concepts. It won't be focused on code. Yeah, but I would suggest just to have a knowledge about some basic C++ code, data type array, and it would take just R if you know that. So अगर कोई आगे use करने वाला है syntax of C++, but mostly there were things on concepts and all. Okay, thanks. Thanks, sir. I am not sir. I am just 19, a fresher only. Yeah. I want advice to increase rating on Codeforces. Just give contests and practice. Uh, CT is similar to maths. You need to practice. You just need to practice. There is no straight formula key. You will do this and your rating will be increased. Follow the camp. If you follow the camp and ask from seniors, you will definitely be improving your rating after the contest. Okay, we can end the stream.